in the business. Now, focus on the returns on your money without worrying about the return of your money. For over 30 years, Brokers Alliance has maintained one of the largest inventories of guaranteed and tax-advantaged products in the country and serves a nationwide network of financial professionals. Call 1-800-290-7226 or email thequest@brokersalliance.com. And remember, when you need financial guidance, call Brokers Alliance.
Welcome back to the Quest for Financial Freedom. I'm your host, Steve Savant. And of course, with me today is my special guest on the Quest, Eric Palmer, one of the leading annuity experts in the United States. You can email Eric or myself at this address, thequest@brokersalliance.com, or call us, 1-800-290-7226. That's 1-800-290-7226. In the second segment, we're talking about variable annuities. Well, variable annuities, get ready for the screaming, the caterwauling, the catcalls. I mean, I've been reading articles, and I mean serious articles, from some of the greatest financial trade magazines, which I think are more like financial pornography, personally. I mean, the stuff that these guys are saying, I just can't believe it. But before we get down on that, let's not do that, because, I have to write for these guys once in a while. Let's talk about variable annuities, because in the beginning, when we started seeing insurance carriers get into this, it was kind of a cool idea, I have to say. Now, in variable annuities, if we didn't have the bad boy years we just had, we probably wouldn't be talking in this way. But now we have to kind of give both sides of the fence. In variable annuities, you're looking at sub-accounts that may look or have features similar to a mutual fund. But the interior costs of a variable annuity, unlike some of the annuities we talked about yesterday and today, these actually have expense loads that we have to be very attuned to and to see if that's really worth the idea. The asset allocation model inside the annuity is a cost in and of itself. The death benefit is a cost in and of itself. If we start putting riders on this, there's going to be a cost. I never worry about the cost if it's a true value proposition. Am I really getting something out of this? I don't mind paying for it if I'm getting something out of it. But we're going to talk about this for just a little bit, because we have people that are coming to us now and they're going, Steve, should we be into variable? Or in tomorrow's show, we'll be talking about indexing. So let's talk a little bit about variable. Let's do some good things, bad things. Let's try to give a full disclosure here, Eric, and talk a little bit about variable annuities.
I'll start out with the good things that the variable annuity has done, especially as of recent. A variable annuity essentially is that type of product that's giving you a little bit more potential for the upswing. So where some of the fixed annuities we talked about earlier this week are guaranteeing rates, making sure the floor is protected, a variable annuity is performing directly, actually, in most cases, in a market, which means that it is a security product. It is something that has the potential to take a loss. But again, I'm going to focus just on the positive side real quick. Recently, they've added, like you had mentioned, riders, guarantees for death benefit and guarantees for income. So we look at the client's needs. Do we need income? Are we looking for the best guaranteed source of income? And also, do we want to participate in a potentially high upswing if the markets are recovering? If that's the case, if the answer is yes both ways, then a variable annuity is a good option for a client for a portion of our total plan, because we'll get the upside swing if the markets come back. But these income riders on these products are guaranteeing an interest rate growth that even if the markets went down and we took losses in the actual contract itself, you've got this number over here on the side that's going to guarantee a stream of income for you no matter what happens in the product. Now, you pay for it, like you had mentioned, in fees, but it's those types of protection barriers that have been added to the variable annuities over the last couple of years that have made them still products you should take a look at.
Well, some of our clients and a lot of the baby boomers, my generation, we bought into the idea of variable annuities because when the market was hot and it was going up, we saw fabulous returns, I have to say. And we kept getting locked. We were locked down. Some were quarterly lockdown, monthly lockdown, so that the high water mark became our number that we would annuitize or take our income off of. Now, that number was only for income purposes. That number had nothing to do with the actual account value. When the account value started to go down in 2007 and 8 and 9, and we saw our numbers plummet, and I mean, some of us experienced some serious drops in our annuity rates very quickly. We still had the high water mark, but that's based on income. If we turn the income spigot on, we have no more principal. So it's only truly an income situation. Now, I noticed that some of the variables that are out there now will let you take withdrawals. It's a withdrawal benefit, not an income benefit. They'll let you take a withdrawal, a lockdown number, and preserve principal. That's strange.
It's strange, but it's expensive. You know, it's a positive side of these products because, again, it's providing those inherent guarantees that especially the baby boomer market we're talking about, 76 million Americans, they want to make sure that the bottom is protected, that the bottom can't fall out, because we've all experienced it. We all felt it in the last several years. So those features are very strong because it means that my income is protected or my death benefit value is protected. But I'm going to talk a little bit about the negative side for a second. What happens if I sell a bunch of real estate, I've set myself up pretty well for income, and I want to take this money and go buy a boat? That's where you have to examine the variable annuity and say, is this a type of product that could provide the liquidity that I may want in the future?
Well, let's say I was okay with the surrender, because all annuities have surrender charges, so that's
right.
Everything being equal, that's not an issue then.
Right.
But and my issue would be the average of these contracts probably run, and I'm going to say without, more than likely, probably, let's just say 3 1/4 all in if I'm using an income benefit. So I have 3.25%. I'm behind the curve day one. That means my rates have to be, I have to get 3 1/4 in my rate of return just to break even.
Just to break even.
Now, I'm okay with that if my portfolio is a long-term portfolio where I'm looking at managers that have done excellent jobs. Now, there are some people that actually charge on top of the 325 basis points or 3.25%, they actually will manage this for you to try to drive up the numbers. But now you're adding another, sometimes 1.5 to 2% more, and that means I have to make 5.5 just to break even on the contract. I have to be long-term. I have to be very much into the market. My mentality has to be bullish over the long haul. I can't really be playing around, and I have to understand that I could miss so much so that the floor, I could have my account actually gutted by the market.
Right.
So, but that's like any equity market. Everybody plays in that league. Once you go into suitability issues and you're suitable to play in the market, you just got to know there's going to be beta risk here. There's going to be the possibility of you losing principal, and you have to be able to play that game. That's why some people like to pay the big numbers for the guarantees.
Right.
And you just have to say, does that number, maybe it is a little high, maybe it's a Cadillac price, but maybe I sleep better at night. Maybe I'm in love with my pillow. I'm not tossing and turning. And I think you got to remember what is really happening in the psyche now of investors and savers. I don't mind paying a little bit for insurance. Listen, I don't want to pay for my house insurance, but I do. I don't want to pay for my car insurance, but I do. Because in the event something happens, I want to be protected. And I don't want people coming, I even buy a pup policy, an umbrella policy, in case one of my teenagers hits somebody, and they not only want to come after me in my auto, they want to come after everything I got.
Right.
So I don't mind paying for it if it's a value proposition. If I don't see the value in it, then I'm going to start saying, wait a minute, I don't know if I want to shell out that kind of interior cost for a VA. No, there's nothing wrong with variable annuities. I have variable annuities, ladies and gentlemen. I do in my portfolio.
Right.
And boy, am I glad I had locked in numbers for my income, because that's what I was thinking when I bought it. Did you hear? And by the way, did you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? That's what I was thinking when I bought it. Now,
it comes down to the questions that the advisor is going to ask the client. What are our goals? There is definitely a place for variable annuities and planning. I myself have variable annuities, but my retirement goals are long term. I consider it to be more on my aggressive side of the overall equation. I'm willing to take the risk of losing principal because, to me, that money's not set aside to go buy a boat. I'm actually going to use it for those income guarantees and hope that I'm going to get some of the upside potential that a product like that provides.
You brought up the boat thing twice in this interview, Eric, and we live in Arizona. I don't get that.
You know what? I've been looking at boats. It's on my mind.
I mean, outside Lake Havasu, I don't know where you're going. You're going to float in the boat over the Hoover Dam. Maybe that's where to go. I'm really thinking about how when we're comparing this is kind of like, this is the edge. This is for the people who have long-term, like yourself. You have long timelines to retirement, and people that are saying, no, I do believe the equity market is going to come back. I believe in the long-haul worldview, global investment mentality. And because of that, I don't also want to pay taxes. I like the idea that it's ordinary income, and I like some of the guarantees and the perks that go with it. I'd have to compare that. And by the way, a lot of times I see mutual funds compared to these where they say mutual funds are cheaper, and there are a lot of cheap mutual funds that will pay anywhere between 60 basis points and maybe 125 to 150. But generally, an advisor is using they're managing their portfolio, and they're putting on their advisory fee on top of that. So generally, when I look at these numbers, it may not be equal to the variable annuity interior cost, but it's so close, it's close enough that I think you should not gripe about it. And I'm to the point where I kind of say, I don't know if that's really an argument anymore. If you have a fee-based planner or person that's managing your funds, you're paying a fund fee and you're paying an advisory fee. So as long as everybody knows what they're going in, their full disclosure, really.
Right.
We're talking about really making sure everybody understands what's going on. I think I'm okay with that.
And the question is, what portion of those fees are going towards guarantees? The variable annuity market, you do have to remember that, yes, you're paying for something, but what you're paying for is a guarantee, and that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I don't mind paying for it if I go in with eyes wide open. And so when we look at variable annuities, if you want to be a player in the global market, you like equities, and you think it's going to be a huge issue, and you're beyond the indexing mentality, which, remember, a lot of our clients are kind of movers and shakers. And the younger the client, the more apt they may want to do because they see the long haul. They have 20, 30 years out.
Right.
And so they want to be able to make contributions like that into a contract that allows that and tax deferred.
I look at the people that in 2007 were about 2-3 years out of retirement that had a good portion of their retirement savings in variable annuities. You can go question most of those folks. They'll tell you at least 60-70% of them will tell you they've put retirement off for a couple of years because what they lost in their variable contracts they need to gain back before they can retire. They were counting on that money, and that's one of the most important things is that timeline. How soon do you plan to retire, and do we have time for some risk?
Yeah, well, when you think about the timeline of most boomers, and now we're thinking about going from 65 to 67 to 68 to work maybe 70. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm slowing down. So when you look at those numbers, people have had such a shock and awe experience over the market the last couple of years. Yeah, we might be living longer, working longer, and now they're even thinking about making Social Security, right? Pushing that out some.
Past 68.
That's a whole nother scene. We'll hit that in another show to be sure. But variable annuities have their place, especially if you got some nice solid timeline. You understand the risk, and one of the biggest issues, you have access to all these markets. To me, it's worth looking into. Compare that to tomorrow's show when we talk about indexing, because I think you're going to see a pretty good idea of what we want to be, how we want to measure that.
Yep.
Well, that's all the time we have today. I want to thank Eric Palmer for being my special guest, our sponsor, Brokers Alliance, and America, where anyone can go on a quest for financial freedom. So until next time, remember what the good Reverend John Wesley once said. Make all you can, save all you can, give all you can. I'm Steve Savant. Join me next time on my quest for financial freedom.
Quest for Financial Freedom is brought to you by Brokers Alliance, the premier provider of guaranteed and tax advantage products to a nationwide network of financial professionals. Need financial guidance? Call Brokers Alliance. You can request an email link of this webcast at our email address, thequest@brokersalliance.com, or call us 1-800-290-7226. That's 800-290-7226. And join Steve Savant next time on the Quest for Financial Freedom in your lifetime.